Hello everybody, Assalamu alaikum, Marhaba, Annyeonghaseyo. This is Heartbeat Confessions and I'm your host Sassy Maisa.
Haram has become so easily accessible that marriage is losing its meaning. We live in a time where the physical form is worshipped. People are not taking the time to make connections on a deeper level. There aren't many good men compared to the amount of good women out there, and that is absolutely true. Would you have a couples counseling before getting married to get to know whether you would be compatible? Hello and welcome back to another episode of Heartbeat Confessions. In today's episode, we will be discussing what qualities to look for when getting married. In order to understand what people actually thought about the topic, I had to find some answers and I did a survey on what people actually look for when looking for a spouse. Majority of the responses were from women. I guess guys want to keep it a secret and just complain on how they can't find a suitable match or whatever. I'm not even making this up, guys, but someone needs to tell those guys on Twitter if you keep complaining, ain't no way you are finding someone. In our survey, we asked a few questions like things like does the past matter, does education lifestyle matter, and like all the important things. 70% of people who answered were professionals, 20% were students, and the other 10% was a mix of all. I will be analyzing the answers I received and then come up with a conclusion. So, guys, get your popcorn, some chill drink because the weather is insane out there. I might be editing this podcast into two parts because of the amount of information in it. And I don't want to keep it too long. So, yeah, tune in for part two. So, yeah, let's dive straight into it. The first question was what qualities to look for in a spouse. To list a few before going into much more detail, some of the basic qualities which many people were looking for actually is loyalty, a good listener, someone who's God conscious, someone who has a good communication level, someone who is gentle, respectful, and is truthful to each other. Someone who does his prayers, knows the difference between halal and haram. To get into the nitty gritty of things, a lot of them actually said attraction is kind of important. Okay, I get it. Because it's one of the things for me too. Okay, we're not gonna lie, okay? However, realistically speaking, it's not a very important quality, and the character is above it all. We cannot deny that. If you think about it, as you age, the looks fade away, or for instance, someone gets into an accident and they go through like life-changing transmissions, the marriage will eventually broke off because the foundation wasn't strong to begin with. If you look at Insta couples nowadays, I would highly suggest stop idealizing them. That is not real marriage. It's all a show. Sometimes, yes, it can be inspiring, but it shifts our minds from what's important, which is the deen, the akhlaq, the living, and the akhirah. On top of them, having to keep a certain image for the rest of your life, it's super tiring. What about the days you are tired and don't feel like wearing makeup? Your spouse shouldn't see you as less attractive, unless you always look like a mess. And don't take time to take care of yourself, guys. I'm not trying to judge anyone, but let's just be honest, okay? That's a different story, and it's the same for you guys too. By the way, boys, take care of yourself. I honestly can't stress this enough. But boys, can y'all please take a grooming course or something and know how to dress well and take care of your hygiene? You don't have to be like the most beautiful person on earth. Just stay clean. That is such a turn off. I'm sure like majority of the people would agree with this. Yeah. I mean, the physical attraction can grow as time progresses, and the more you get to know someone, but if you truly do not feel attracted to each other, then it would be unfair to commit to marriage. Just be honest. In the survey, someone said thoughtfulness keeps the relationship going and maintains affection. Someone who respects boundaries and understands limits when it comes to the opposite gender. Taking care of each other increases love in the heart of your spouse. Using kind words and being open minded to discussing problems is another one. But for me, the most important quality is friendship. You must be wondering, Mesa girl, how? Guys, wait, I'll let you know. Because if you think about it, a female and a male can be good friends. And the reason being is they respect and understand each other. No jealousy, no animosity. Then why can't a husband and wife have the same relationship? I know this comparison isn't Islamic, but if you think, isn't this why friendships last long? Imagine finding a friend in your husband. Y'all are bound to spend the rest of your lives together knowing y'all can trust each other. It's the duty of the man to ensure his house isn't breaking apart and working on building a strong understanding on how they can overcome any obstacles. Another surveyor shared a really cute story about their parents, saying, "Watching my parents conquer every little hurdle that comes in their way every day together and caring so much about one another just fascinates me. They're both high school sweethearts. I'm genuinely stunned by their unbreakable bond, and I hope I find something like that when I grow up." And then she said, "P.S. I just wanted you to have a different POV on this, as in point of view on this, how greatly parents' bond affects the child. That's kind of cute. It creates a healthy relationship in the house, plus you grow up with the standard of not having to settle for less. In a world where divorce rates are skyrocketing, it's not easy to focus on the positives. In any marriage, divorce shouldn't be the first option unless the marriage is abusive. Girl, in that case, divorce should be your first option and run." Moving on. Our second question was whether doing a background check is important to know about their past. Guys, this was like a bit controversial because let's see what some people said about it. So I would say 66% said yes, it is important. The other 34% weren't keen on it. I'll break down on the whys. The people who said yes isn't to find dirt on them or anything, but doing a background check and asking the community tells more about their character. The last thing you want to know is end up with a dealer or a serial K. Okay? Well, I don't want YouTube to block me, so you guys know what the word means. Things like who they have been with, who their friend circle is, does he respect himself, how he carries himself, and all those sort of important things. These are just some of the positives. The downside of it would be to hold something against them or to keep having doubts on whether they change or keep going back to their old self. Girls and guys, if you keep that kind of mindset, you legit took peace out of your life. That's beyond toxic and damaging. If you ever decide to do a background check, which I think you should, just remind yourself on why you're doing it. Stick to the purpose and not to judge someone's character. If you find things about them that don't align with your values, then it's better not to take things forward. One of the comments from the survey said you have all the rights to know about his past. It's up to you if you can deal with it and let it go or take a decision based on it. As per past is concerned, you can decide if you want to live with him for the rest of your life on the basis of his behavior. If he's not proud of something wrong he has done in the past and is promising you that it won't happen again, then your decision should be in his favor. Otherwise, back off ASAP. Someone also said, I feel like sometimes it's just because you shouldn't go into marriage blindly. There may be things that you might not think about or feel about very differently that could make or break your relationship. So it's better to clarify it in the beginning than finding late on in the marriage, which I agree on. For example, being with someone who is divorced, not that is an issue, of course, but you may feel actually you would like to be with someone who has not been married before. And I know like a lot of guys do have that option. They want that. So why can't a woman want that? Well, because stupid society has dictated us that is wrong for her, but it's right for him. But guess what? Y'all can take whatever. Our next question was, does education matter and what role does it play in children's upbringing? We touched more in this on our previous podcast after that Sunnah guy went on to this female. Can I just say 98% of people agreed on the importance of education and how it affects their kids. The 2% that said, I'm sure they have their own reasons and stuff like that, like because they said that it's not important. So someone said, education is vital as children take inspiration from their parents, and Islam encouraged us to be well educated, which I agree on. And Islamically, it is so important so our views don't clash and children are brought up on deen. With what's happening these days, I think that's really important that the parents are on the same page. So this one person said something really beautiful. I think education is important because it's very valuable. Formal education is important to a degree due to the fact that it provides with some secondary socialization, being socialized outside of your immediate environment, but mainstream schooling is not necessarily the best system to increase your knowledge. Sometimes that actively seeks out knowledge is very attractive. To add on to that, we go back to the topic where deep conversations come in. Being educated in whatever subject just shows you are someone who cares about self-development, is passionate and has a purpose for their life. You can hold conversations with them and not get bored. You can always find something to talk about, and that's what keeps a relationship living. Also, to add on to that, it also encourages your significant other to take more interest in you because you guys want to get to know each other a bit more. In terms of children, it definitely is important because children learn firsthand from their home, whether that's religion or any other subject. That's when they start picking up hobbies and interests in life. They learn to be open to knowledge and continue progressing for the rest of their life. Children look up to their father all their life. He will be able to do good for them. Not saying that if someone is not educated, he's not going to do them good, but the positives outweigh the negatives, you know? A comment I highly disagreed with, okay, something that we disagree with, is someone saying if either of the parent is uneducated, it means they would be unethical, and that's what the children and next generations would become. An educated person will teach his or her child, and it will save next generations from being ill-mannered and uneducated. And like I said, I absolutely disagree with this statement, and I'll go a bit more in detail after this. This just doesn't sit right with me, and giving me a really backward mentality. I could be really biased. To give you a good example, my father is highly educated, but my mother never got the chance to study as she got married early, but she was able to raise us all to have ambitions in life. As long as the parents teach their kids to be good human beings, that is more than enough. Yes, education is important, but not to the point where we start assuming that we will grow up unethically. In fact, it could be the quite opposite. We see kids going to school and college nowadays, and their lifestyle is way worse than the previous generation, who don't even know how to read a word. Take, for instance, my first podcast on Sarah Inham, the girl who was murdered by her cruel husband. His family was very high up and stuff, but still they couldn't raise a decent child. LOL. Guys, facts. Our third most important question was, why are people finding it difficult to get married in this day and age? And does status matter? The question is a bit controversial, I know, but it's important to ask or you won't know the answers, innit? This is gonna be an interesting one, guys. I legit agreed with like the 20 responses I got. But yeah, please leave comment down on the comment section to know like what you guys think about it. And if you have come this far, then please do subscribe to the channel downstairs and share it with your friends, because guys, we want to keep this a safe space for everyone. Great. So someone said, as a female, I hate to say this, but men want a youthful and attractive partner. Facts. I have been told by some men myself that once some women get past a certain age, they start to age very quickly, and of course their fertility starts to decrease. I'm getting pissed. If you're looking to start a family, but it is a two-way thing, and females shouldn't be blamed. There is also other things that make it difficult in this day and age, such as dating apps. You have options, quote unquote. So it doesn't necessarily try to work things out with someone and keep going from person to person, which is true. There are a lot of people who have got into relationships when they are young and are still fixated on the past. Then parents may have an influence, but if I was to say which is the most important thing, I think feminism has corrupted our society. If you disagree with that, you disagree, but that is what my opinion on that is. The problem with our society is that we try and blame society for all our issues, when the problem is them. Let me tell you why. The reason those cultural norms are in place is everybody, I legit mean everyone, okay, a part of a few old ones, still do not take a step to break the cycle and stop having these backward mentality. Women do not have an expiry date. If anything, it's men who do. Science has said that. Go and do some scientific research to educate your minds and stop blaming women for your issues. Period. And the feminism thing. What is feminism? Can someone elaborate this for me, please? I legit have never found a legitimate answer other than the ones everyone keep changing around to suit their own liking. I have only heard the term Muslim feminist from Ali Dawa or Twitter guys. Wallah, I didn't even know that was a thing. It was a thing. Oh my god, it's very damaging to our young Muslimas. This is the reason I have dedicated this space to highlight those issues. Then there are the likes of Tate who make it worse. So now we have a toxic masculinity issue and a feminism issue. Guys, I'm like, what is this world? There's like, there's two things that we're fighting against. Oh my god, I really want to do like a podcast one day on like just toxic masculinity and feminism on itself, because I had a conversation with Ali Dawa on this, and he was like, so what is toxic masculinity? And I explained to him that this and this, and he's like, yeah, I can see your point. But then I don't think he was, he took what I was saying, because a few days later, like a few months later, he had this stupid show on YouTube. Dude, the whole thing about his channel is just creepy. Anyhow, in between this, the youth are being lost. Other than that, the haram has become so easily accessible that marriage is losing its meaning. From what I see, marriage has become a trend instead of sunnah. It's more like showing off rather than the commitment and duties that come with it. Like someone in the survey said, social media is the ultimate cause and term. The grass is always greener. Nah, we live in a time where the physical form is worshipped. People are not taking the time to make connections on a deeper level. Culture is the biggest reason. The biggest issue is the damage being caused to us. We are all a bunch of lonely souls now. If you do not admit it, I do not agree with you. It's just because we don't say it doesn't mean that we're not. Do not come at me and say, oh, that's such a misogynistic thing. That's how Allah has created us, and denying it won't fix the issue. Then there are females who make it more difficult by digging into our culture and the color of your skin. Some parents don't want you to get married so that you can continue supporting them, or they haven't done enough to help you get settled. Some parents will bar their daughters or son from marrying someone for silly cultural reasons. Status apparently does matter, I don't know, for some families who are more likely to marry off their daughter at a significantly younger age, which is wrong in my opinion, which the surveyor said, by the way. Other than letting them study and gain further education, another reason is that is societal standard that's sort of embedded in our heads, and most importantly, the young women's heads. Agree to disagree, but that is the truth. In theory, men are more prone to being lonely than women. It's just they don't admit it, and I'm not being biased. That's actual facts, guys. Another thing is we don't discuss that openly with our families that we want to get married, and don't ask questions or tell them, like we want to get married. It's easy to just lie to yourself and carry resentment, which is true. Someone had a really good point actually, quoting, I feel like in this day and age, men and women want to live life more before they settle down. Not that you cannot do that in marriage, but a lot of men and women I feel want to be independent and stable before marrying, which again, there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't know. Another reason is it's so hard to find someone is because people have such long requirements when wanting to marry someone. Like, not realizing it's actually harming them. It's not doing you any good, man. Like, bruh, just be realistic, okay? Again, we can't blame society for that. We are the damage ourselves, period. In terms of status, it does matter to a certain extent. Doesn't mean that you have to be a billionaire and stuff, but just have moral values in life, man. People with status have seen life, and at some point they are content with what they have. That doesn't mean they're materialistic. It just can attract the wrong type of people, Another thing is loyalty has become very rare. People are not loyal nowadays and unable to control their desires, lack of respect, and unable to maintain boundaries. This is what you guys should be taught in school. Legit. This is what people should be taught in school, how to maintain boundaries. In some cultures, marriage is seen as such a burden, and daughters are seen as, like something that they need to get rid of. The ideas have kind of shifted now. It's either they will make the daughter or son work and take care of everything and not give a damn about them. And once they have passed the age of 30 or something, they would use the excuse of, oh, you won't get a good match and force them to settle down with anyone. Damn, I'm annoyed at these people. Oh my god, guys, you have to bear with my squeaky voice. You guys should be used to it now. To move on from this point, majority of people said they don't know where to find good people, legit, and approach them. From what I heard, if you're actively looking to get married, then attend Muslim social events for professionals, talk to the imam of the masjid, or tell your friend circle you are seeking to get married. And the biggest thing is have tawakkul in Allah. He has already written for you your nasib. Someone had a good point, and I'm not trying to be biased or anything, but she said there aren't many good men compared to the amount of good women out there, and that is absolutely true. Just one more thing I want to throw in here is, girls, yes, it's fun to talk about OMG, I want to get married and stuff, but do not be pressured to feel this way just because your circle keep mentioning it. That is another issue that's happening. I don't even go on TikTok anymore because of the amount of negativity. It does affect you unconsciously, and do not talk to guys and feel attached to them. If they aren't serious, just move on. Why would you waste your time on someone who isn't serious and keep holding on to him in case he changes his mind? If someone wants you wholeheartedly, they will show it through actions, not sweet Pinterest quotes, which 90% of it is fake. LOL lol. Our next question was, would you get married to someone from a different culture but within your religion? I personally don't mind getting married to any culture as long as we are on the same page in terms of values. But if the other person is very, very traditional and cultural, then no thanks. Next, please. On this, I think 80% of people said they would, 15% said no, and 5% are already married to someone outside their culture. So they did share their experience with us. The reason they said no is because of the culture clash, which I agree on, but it's a beautiful thing when two cultures come together and embrace what the other got to offer. But here is the thing, I don't think families would agree on getting their kids married outside their culture. I mean, I don't have that issue in my house, but I heard a lot of cases where the parents didn't agree their child married outside of caste, let the younger child choose for themselves, which is really unfair. Moving on to our next question, I think it's very important. This is a very, very important question, and I want y'all to think about this from a deeper perspective. So the question is, would you have a couples counseling before getting married to get to know whether you would be compatible? And what makes a marriage successful? So, if you guys want to know the answer for this question, then please tune on to our part 2 of Heartbeat Confessions. What qualities to look for in a spouse when getting married? Guys, this is so long now. I can't really continue, but yeah, please do tune part 2 to get the rest of the answer. See ya.